once again. Welcome to B Movie Euphoria's 31 Days of Horror. I'm your host, Nick. Sick Nick. A little bit better today. I am recovering, and I'm here. Alright? I'm here for you. I'm here for the horror movies. And I was going to go see something tonight. I kind of regret it. They're playing a live in theater of Frankenstein on stage with Benedict Cumberbatch and Johnny Lee Miller, two fairly good actors. Both played Sherlock. So the thing with this live play of Frankenstein is that on the London stage they would switch every performance. Johnny Lee Miller would play Victor Frankenstein one night, and then Benedict Cumberbatch would play the monster, and then the next night they would switch and play different roles. And it just sounds so incredibly interesting to me. And they were just playing it tonight uh, at Celebration Cinema, but it's okay. I kind of wanted to stay home and just enjoy not moving so much. But anyway, uh, also, it was directed by Danny Boyle, who's one of my favorite directors. He made Train Spotting and A Life Less Ordinary, which I think that's one of his films that's a little bit maligned and not appreciated enough, in my opinion, because I really enjoyed it. It was one of the movies that, like, I was just old enough to see and enjoy, and then not understand why no one else liked it. But I really enjoyed it. I love Danny Boyle, so he directed that play. But anyway, that's in the past. So tonight we have a very special movie for B Movie Euphoria's 31 Days of Horror. We have the 1978 classic, The Bees. The Bees. So, in this time period, kind of like mid to late 70s, there were a lot of Killer Bee movies going on. Like, I had no idea. I was born in 1982. We had kind of in the 80s and 90s, there always seems to be like a comeback of like killer bee scares, and now we're kind of worried about the bees disappearing, which is horrible. I mean, I've been stung by bees before. I've stepped on a bee. I've got my hand stung and all swollen up and everything. But I really like honey, and I don't want the bees to go away. But yeah, the idea of swarms of killer bees coming and just, stinging you to death, that's terrifying, because the pain of a bee sting is awful, even with one bee. So I can only imagine what hundreds of bees stinging you at the same time would feel like. Not good. Like, ow. So here's a list of all the Killer Bees films that were coming out at the time. This one, not so much. Invasion of the Bee Girls. I haven't seen that one, but I think it has something to do with women that are like infected with some sort of bee venom or something, and they're killing men. Nice. There's also the Killer Bees, the Savage Bees, the Swarm, which apparently, so the Swarm and this film, The Bees, were going to come out roughly around the same time. So New World Pictures paid the producers and the director a huge amount of money. The director got $90,000 to not release The Bees. So sadly, this kind of was not a big hit, because like the Swarm had already come out with Michael Caine, and directed by Irwin Allen, he does all the disaster films. So it kind of stole this film's thunder a little bit. But which one was better? Who knows? I haven't seen The Swarm, so I've only seen this one. Also, the last one, Terror Out of the Sky. And so this one, it has a very strange kind of plot. Woo! It's basically about this kind of pharmaceutical cosmetic company that is paying for this certain kind of bee, this very aggressive kind of bee, to create what they call royal jelly, which apparently had this very amazing quality of, getting rid of wrinkles and making your skin very soft and everything. And royal jelly was like this huge thing back then. I remember also reading a short story about Roald Dahl about royal jelly, which was kind of roughly about the same thing. But so this company wants this royal jelly created by these bees so much that they, even after a few people are attacked by these bees, um, they're still trying to get them imported over to the U.S. because they want to, start manufacturing this royal jelly and popping it out. And they kind of they mutate these bees a little bit too, so they can produce this royal jelly faster and with more efficiency. And what that ends up doing is it creates this kind of almost hyper bee. And there is one scientist, played by John Saxon, the great John Saxon, who who sees the dangers in this and is immediately trying to stop it and getting the government on his side and getting them to basically stop this cosmetic pharmaceutical company, which has basically hired mercenaries to bring these bees across the border. And it is brutal. Like, these people are willing to kill, they're willing to sacrifice their lives. At one point, this one guy dies on an airplane because he had this belt under his clothes that had some bees in it, and they just stung the shit out of him to death. But John Saxon is our hero, who is a scientist, and he's one of my favorite B-movie actors of all time. He just you've seen him. Even if you haven't seen that many movies, you've seen him because he's been in so many damn movies. Nightmare on Elm Street, one of my favorite films, Tenebrae, Dario Argento's Tenebrae. He's just Enter the Dragon, the Bruce Lee film, and he's just a great actor. He's always just he's in it, and you just follow him very well because there's never a falseness about his acting. It's always very straightforward. He's not great, but he's in no way bad. And this film, he definitely brings it. Another thing about him is he's like the king of the comb over. And I say that because in every film I've ever seen him in, you can tell it is definitely a comb over. But it is such a expert comb over that you don't care. Because most comb overs, everybody agrees, comb overs are pretty gross. When you grow your hair really long and then you're just kind of swiping it over to one side, it's just shave your head or something. Honestly, I feel like the comb over kind of disappeared a little bit. I think it should come back even though it is gross, just because it's such a great look. Great, disgusting, those things, different sides of the same coin, but he always had this incredible, impeccable comb over, and you always see it and you're always kind of impressed by it. He put a lot of work into that comb over. Anyway, so he is working with the former wife of this guy that was doing research on these bees, and their house ended up getting attacked by a bunch of people that were just your bees are killing people. And then this one father who, with his son, tried to break into this facility to get some of that royal jelly for himself. His son ended up dying, and he's like, "You killed my son!" And he comes to the facility, and it's like, no, dude, you killed your son by breaking into the fucking bee compound and having him steal shit with you, you dumbass. But anyway, so they come to this facility, smash it up. The bees are all set loose. Everybody's getting attacked, and her this oh my god, I can't remember her name. But anyway, her husband is gets attacked. She is she's the only one left. She knows about her husband's research, and then John Saxon comes in and helps basically figure out how to stop these bees. But the thing is, they come up with all these plans, and they come up with all these anti-bee drugs or whatever, and they work for a little bit, but then the bees get stronger and the swarms get bigger, and then we see these huge kind of tracking shots of major cities with these huge swarms going by buildings, and it just looks like a big plume of black smoke. But at the same time, you're not really, like, you buy it and you don't buy it at the same time. And then we get to see a lot of people just in the park getting attacked by bees. And there's this great scene where it's this old man, and he's sitting on a park bench. Just it's played very well, and he's basically talking to these kids. He's like, "All right, I'm gonna give you $2, and I want you to go capture me some bees, 'cause I got the rheumatism in my legs, and the bee sting helped my legs. So here's a bag, go catch me some bees." And I'm like, that's incredible. I just thought it was such a funny, ridiculous scene, and I loved it. And then the kids go and find some bees for him, like 2 or 3, and this other kid overhears it, and he's like, shit, I can do that. I know where there's a huge fucking hive. So this other kid goes over to this giant hive, starts chucking stones at this hive, and of course, they go fucking nuts and just start attacking everybody. And the 2 kids bring the little bees back to the guy, and he's like, let's see if this works. And the kids are like, wait, you don't know if it works? He's like, no. And he's like, oh yeah. And so there are little scenes like that. The film does drag a little bit. The production is sometimes it's just a little slow, but overall it's fun, and the ending is very surprising, where they try everything they can and nothing works on these bees until finally they realize that the bees are talking. They're speaking. They have a kind of a collective consciousness, and they are speaking, and only, of course, John Saxon can, I'm terrible with names, can understand them. And he goes to this big UN conference, and he's talking to everyone. He's like, you've got to listen to me. You have to listen to the bees. The bees have something to say. And they're like, okay, we got other stuff to do. Thank you very much. But the bees fucking bust into this conference, and they start swarming around. And he's like, John Saxon's like, they won't hurt you. We have to listen to them from now on. There are more bees than there are men, and now we have destroyed the earth with our pollution and our nuclear waste and all that. We must live in union with these bees. And wow, what an ending. What I'm sorry if I'm ruining anything, but it's still a great movie, whether or not you know how it ends. Anyway, that's our review of Dubbies. Thank you for watching B-Movie Euphoria's 31 Days of Horror. Oh shit, where are we at? Day 22. We're getting down there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll have a good one tomorrow too. Bye-bye.